And I'm Darren.
Of the Rad Adventures Network.
Welcome to Convention Correspondents.
We have a special treat for you today.
Our friend Gerry Green recently visited Big Apple Comic-Con and is here to tell us all about it.
Gerry will be with you right after this promo for another podcast you may enjoy.
Hello, I'm Gerry.
And I'm Chris. We are the hosts of the podcast Bat Books for Beginners.
We both love Batman comics.
And we like other comics too. Comics that don't get the attention that the Caped Crusader gets.
We want to bring attention to our favorite indie and small publisher comics.
Some of it will be weird. Some of it will be wild.
But great storytelling can come from anywhere. So we started a brand new podcast, The Professor Frenzy Show.
On the Professor Frenzy Show, we will share some of our favorite indie comic books with you. Search for us on iTunes, Google Play, and everywhere podcasts are found.
We hope you will search, subscribe, download, listen, and join in on the fun.
Professor Frenzy, it's a show. Professor Frenzy Show.
Hello, and welcome to Rad Adventures Convention Correspondents. I am Cub reporter Gerry Green talking about my trip to Big Apple Comic-Con. I visited Big Apple Comic-Con on a beautiful Saturday, April 14th, 2018, in the Hotel Pennsylvania in New York City. It was my first time at Big Apple Con, and it seemed like there was a terrific crowd. There were a lot of comics for sale, and I was able to pick up some Tombs of Dracula, as well as some House of Secrets. Perfect for this old-time horror comic fan. I met Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks, John Sussman from Glee, and was excited to shake hands with Larry Storch from F Troop and Ghostbusters. Not Ghostbusters, the movie, the morning TV show that I loved as a kid. Another celebrity I got a chance to talk to is Kas Anvar, that plays Alex Kamal, the pilot in The Expanse, which is one of my favorite shows airing today. Kas was very generous with his time, and we discussed the show and talked about some of his favorite scenes. The actors on the show don't get to see what some of the other acting teams are filming, so they're in the dark about what's happening in the other plot threads. When they actually see the finished product, they are as entertained as we are. He talked about some of his favorite scenes from the other actors, and it's clear that he's a fan too. It was terrific to speak with him, and we look forward to seeing him this season in The Expanse, as well as his other upcoming work. Neil Adams was at the show as well. His station was very near to the ladies' bathroom, and the sign for the restroom was very small. Men were wandering in, and Neil took it upon himself to make up a big sign that said women on it. The sign had the usual Adams flair. A great comics pro and a solid citizen is Neil Adams. If you're in New York City, don't forget to visit the Neil Adams Gallery. Check online for location and times. I also got to meet Neil's daughter, Zia Adams, who's a painter and colorist. We discussed the advantages of working in CMYK and Photoshop, as well as a shared love of David Bowie. She talked about growing up surrounded by comics creators such as Sergio Aragonis and others. Whether it was nature or nurture, Zia's art is beautiful and she has an amazing eye for color. Finally, I got to meet Mark Schultz. Mark was such a delight to speak with, talking about heading into New York City for the con and upcoming cons that he's attending. He has some gorgeous artwork displayed at his table. What a talented artist and such a kind man. It was truly a pleasure to make his acquaintance. All in all, it was a fantastic day. Thank you for listening to Rad Adventures Convention Correspondents. I am Cub reporter Gerry Green. You can find me on Twitter at Professor Frenzy or at my website, ProfessorFrenzy.com. You can also hear me at the podcast Bat Books for Beginners, where I discuss Batman trade paperbacks with my pod partner, Chris Carnes. And we have a brand new podcast called The Professor Frenzy Show, where we talk indie comics. If you're interested, you can find us on iTunes search. Thank you for listening to Convention Correspondents.
We want to thank Gerry for that terrific report. It sounds like a great convention with lots of great guests.
As a big fan of Twin Peaks, I would love to meet Sherilyn Fenn.
And it's great that Gerry was able to meet Larry Storch. We were lucky to meet him a few years ago at NostalgiaCon in Hunt Valley, Maryland.
We're both fans of F Troop and Ghostbusters, and he's such a nice gentleman.
We're also fans of The Expanse, and we're sad to hear that it's been canceled. The producers are shopping the series around to other outlets, and hopefully it will be picked up. And Tomb of Dracula is a favorite comic series of ours, too. Great finds, Gerry.
And we're so glad that Gerry was able to meet Mark Schultz.
His writing and art are amazing, and he's so extremely nice.
We're thrilled that he is currently working on a new story for Xenozoic Tales, his excellent comic book filled with both Cadillacs and dinosaurs. We love discussing that series on our podcast, Xenozoic Xenophiles, and if you tune in, you'll even find a couple of interviews that we were fortunate to record with Mark Schultz.
Before we go, we want to provide our contact information. You can write to us directly at radadventuresnetwork@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram under the name Rad Adventures Network.
That's RAD, R-A-D, which is short for Ruth Ann Darren.
You can listen to the show through iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play.
You can even find the show on YouTube under Rad Adventures Network.
And you can always visit radadventuresnetwork.com, where you'll find all of the episodes of all of our podcasts, including Trekker Talk, Warlord Worlds, and Xenozoic Xenophiles, as well as Sensational Sleuths, where we talk about favorite mysteries, and Fantastic Fantasies, where we discuss favorite fantasy adventures.
If you like the show, please consider leaving a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. While you won't find a specific place to review Convention Correspondents, we hope you'll leave a review under Rad Adventures Network. Every review helps the podcast be more likely to show up in search results.
And on YouTube, we hope you'll subscribe to the channel and give us some likes on the videos.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you will come back next time for another new episode of Convention Correspondents.
Rad Adventures Network is a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network. For more information, please visit comicspodcast.com. The theme music is Typewriter Symphonic and is licensed from pod5.com. We make no money from this podcast and no copyright infringement is intended.